Today we are interviewing AbbyDream, who is dressed as
Photon from Yu Hakusho.
anybody who's seen that anime. I'm sure it's an amazing anime.
It's definitely one of the more old school animes. If you know Hunter x Hunter, it's the same creator, but Yu Hakusho was made first.
Nice. So let's get started. How did you discover cosplay to begin with?
All right, so back in 2006, my first big anime that I was really into was Fullmetal Alchemist,
Mm.
and uh, my best slash longest friend, who I'll refer to as Tekiru, uh, she said, "Oh, there's this convention in July called Anime Expo." I'm originally from Glendale, California,
Mm.
and people go, they dress up. It's called cosplaying. I'm like, "Oh, dressing up like as characters, meet up with other nerds. It sounds really cool." So
Right?
then I went online, figure out what it was, and like I always remember how it's costume plus play. So both looking like the character and kind of acting like the character too, or at least, carrying yourself differently than just you.
Hmm.
And so unfortunately she wasn't able to go to Anime Expo with me this year, but I cobbled together my very first cosplay, which was Lust from Fullmetal Alchemist, literally from a Goodwill dress, a whole bunch of red ribbon and some red fabric and cut paste, all that. It was so
Nice.
bad, but I was so happy wearing it.
Yeah. So was that your first cosplay then,
Yeah, yeah, it was.
officially?
And yes. And I remember like I knew I was gonna meet other people. I knew I'd want to take pictures, but I didn't think people would want to take pictures of me. My other friend who went with me to the con, she counted, and 32 people took pictures of me that day at Amex. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah. That's very awesome. So what are your plans for the next three cosplays that you're doing?
All right, so the next three projects I have down the pipeline. Tekiru, I'm still friends with her, and her boyfriend is really into Star Wars. He wants to cosplay the Mandalorian, but he doesn't know how to sew. So I offered to make the soft parts, so the flight suit, the vest, and all that. And I have a big old folder that has like these are all like pattern pieces for it that I need to cut and assemble. So that's a major big one. Tekira and I would also want to do uh, the angel forms of Panty and Stocking from Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. Yes, that's the name of the show. It is
Okay.
very, very edgy. Just warning to younger viewers. And then other thing for myself is I really want to make Tifa's sporty dress from the Final Fantasy VII remake. I
Oh yeah,
found the perfect fabric for it. I was like, this must be mine. I am getting it right now. I need to make this dress.
of
So
course.
yeah.
Yes, that's the great thing about doing commissions for people or whatever. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we're not going to be able to see all the Mandalorians walking around the convention center. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we won't be able to see like the baby Yodas that people create.
Oh yeah.
So during this pandemic, what are you doing to like not go insane and keep up your brand and everything?
So I've been basically doing all the little sewing projects that I've put off for months, years, and things. So like one of my friends gave me like this pair of maroon jeans that didn't quite fit, so I turned into a skirt. Um, like I lived in Tucson at the start of this year, and my roommate, she had these pajama pants that I completely like revamped because they were just falling apart. And I'm trying to be a little bit more active on social media, so trying to have somewhat of a consistent posting schedule on Instagram. And of course, I've started up my Fiverr gig to do commissions for other people. Because even if you can't go out, at least taking photos for yourself is something really good to have, and at the very least you have the cosplay ready for when the convention finally shows up.
Exactly. So you commission for a lot of people, huh? On your
Uh,
Fiverr account?
Like I just started the Fiverr like this year, like literally, I think like in April or something is when I put it up. And before then, I had done two, I'm gonna call them like soft commissions. Because one was just for a friend for a Halloween costume, where like my biggest like anxiety from doing commissions was like I'm very, very hands-on. So I wasn't sure if I could make something for someone else without physically being there to, tuck things in place, make sure the fit is right. So for my friend, like, okay, I think I can do what you want. Let me send you a sample and see if it works, and then send it back to me, and then I'll make a real one. It actually worked. So I'm like, okay, if I did it once, I can do it again. And the other one that I made was just like for no one of my friends I've had since high school. Uh, she wanted to be Celine from Pokemon, from newer Pokemon games,
Okay.
as the Alola region outfit because her family was taking a vacation in Hawaii. This was back last year. So like, yeah, I can make that. That's pretty simple. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm starting into that. Hopefully, things pick up with it, and hopefully the commission I just finished last night is well received by the customer when they get it.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So, have you ever been in a cosplay contest?
I've been in cosplay contests twice. Funny enough, it was for the same convention but different years. So
Okay.
back in let's see, it was 2009. It was for Pacific Media Expo in Los Angeles.
Okay.
It was a total last minute decision to go. It was like literally like 2 days before the con. So my friend said, "Hey, we're going to PMX. Do you want to go with us?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And then I saw like I've never done a masquerade before.
Hmm.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
And I've wore my Belarus cosplay from Axis Powers Italia.
Okay.
And I did what was called a walk-on entry, where you literally walk onto the stage, pose for 30 seconds, walk off. But I also had the music of like Prelude 151 by AFI,
Okay.
same band that did the song Miss Murder. So the super epic music playing while I'm just like, doing little poses and stuff.
Of course.
At, at the time I was 17, so I was put into the youth division since I wasn't 18 yet, and I actually won for the youth division part of
Nice.
the masquerade.
Very nice.
And then, yeah, I guess it probably would have been uh 2014. Again, last minute decision to go to Pacific Media Expo was the fall after I graduated college.
Hmm.
And for once again, I did a walk on entry, and this time I was Hinata from Naruto Shippuden,
Yeah.
and just had 30 seconds of the first intro song playing while I did like some, fighting poses and stuff like that. Didn't win any prizes that time around, but I had a lot of fun. People there were super nice. I really enjoyed it.
Very nice. So, do you prefer sewing, armor making, or wig working?
Definitely sewing. Funny enough, I have yet to actually like do any armor work. Just a lot of the characters I like to do are all just like, oh, I get to wear a pretty dress. Oh, I get to wear this really cool, like fighting outfit and stuff like that. Like all of this, I completely sewed myself. Both
Yeah.
layers of the OB. I'm kind of cheating, not wearing the back bow today.
I wouldn't blame you on that. Yeah, I don't blame you
And
at all for not wearing that second part. That's probably uncomfortable.
like it's not super bad. It's just very finicky to get on because it's like it has to go through this really tiny loop on the back of the OB. I'm like, I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, I got like my sewing machine here. It's the same one that I got during my junior year of high school and is still survived to this day.
Very
Keep in mind
nice.
I graduated high school in 2010. This
Hmm.
thing is a trooper. And after sewing, I can kind of do wigs all right. Uh, I tend to get mine sort of like pre-styled or just do very like sort of minimal styling. I can do spikes. They just take a lot of time. I know eventually I'm gonna get into armor. I just don't know when. That's gonna
Yeah.
be a whole new skill set to learn.
So Tori says that your botan is amazing, and so are you.
Ah, thanks, Tori. Yeah, she's our roommate from. I'm pretty sure that's my roommate that I had in Tucson. She's awesome.
So do you move a lot around a lot, like
Oh, this is
because of your
fun.
job or something?
Basically, life has just sort of moved me all around. So I originally grew up in Glendale, California. Went to
Yeah.
college in Oregon. Back to
Wow.
California for like half a year. Moved to Arizona for a year and a half to live with my then boyfriend, now husband.
Okay. There you
Moved back to LA to try to find jobs. Jobs weren't really happening. Moved to Texas to try and find stuff.
go. Wow.
Stuff wasn't really happening. And then we moved back to Arizona at the end of February, right before the world exploded.
And
So
then
yeah.
Mira said that she loves your cosplay and behind the scenes insight.
Thank you so much.
And then Mara Coswald says she misses you and she's proud of you.
Ah.
Or yeah, or he. I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
is it say like Amaris Solvald or sorry, I can't read the name, but I think I know who that is as well.
Yeah. Amma.
Emma, yeah, I
Yeah.
know who that is. That is uh one of like that is the friend I met that sort of like really pushed me to make more cosplays and take more
Nice.
photos.
Nice.
Like they've just been my photographer for years, cosplay wifey. Like I can depend on them for anything. I I love them so much.
Yeah, it's really cool when you have a community that really cares for you and wants you to do better and is offering to help. Yeah, for my cosplays myself, my wife does all the cosplay and my daughter is my photographer. So I try to keep it in the
Nice.
family. So one saves you money, two it's like you don't have
Definitely.
to worry about that, and you're spending time with your daughter. So it's just like, hey, okay,
Mhm.
I'm being a good dad.
Yeah, I mean,
So
photography, that's a skill that you can use for so many things. Like that's a
exactly.
good honor for taking it up.
Yep. And Ouija Boo says your cosplay is so cute.
Thank you.
Um, so moving on to the next one. Do you prefer doing photo shoots at cons, or do you like to go to specific locations, or are you more of a green screen type of cosplayer?
Um, I've done stuff at on the green screen. Um, I don't know if I ever will. No one I know has had a green screen. I like cons and location things for different reasons. Usually at cons, uh, that's usually when you can find like other cosplayers in similar series
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of take photos with that, and that's just an amazing experience. Just,
Yeah.
basically, reenacting scenes or taking photos of scenes you wish would happen in the show or game. I love that collaborative part, but I also love on location things because you honestly, sunlight is always the best lighting ever. Like early in the day or right before sunset, you can't beat it. Nothing compares to it.
Yeah.
And it's also sort of fun hunting for locations to shoot at. Like Amma like has found some really amazing spots. Like there was a park by where they used to live where it would work for kind of anything because there's a playground side, but then there was also the tables and then a side that led to like this cement building. So if you want to do like a more like post-apocalyptic feel, it was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then another time where we found the lower level of the Westin Bonaventure Hotel in LA.
Okay.
And it was like all this cement. It was a completely different look than the rest of the hotel where it tries to be more, modern and green and all that. But there was just this really rocky part on the very bottom floor and this really cool, like lighted fountains. And at the time, me and Tekuru, we were cosplaying from Gurren Lagann, and that scenery was like perfect for Gurren Lagann because it's supposed to be a very gritty looking anime, but with some sci-fi elements to it.
Are you talking about the convention center in Mesa or the
Oh,
hotel in Mesa?
the Westin Bonaventure Hotel in Los Angeles.
Oh, because I was like gonna say that's really sounds like Sabotage or Taiyokon's hotel over in Mesa. I was like, whoa, that's very similar. Yeah, sometimes you can find like the perfect location even at a convention too as well. It depends if
Exactly.
it's like a hotel. Usually when it's a vendor hall, it's like, okay, this is not gonna be good.
Yeah, vendor hall is the worst place to take photos. So I will say to like PSA to everyone, if you see a cosplayer you really like in the dealer's hall, just try to remember approximately like what they look like and then wait until afterwards. Please don't take a photo in the dealer's hall. You will cause a traffic jam. It'll be a headache for the vendors, a headache for cosplayers, or just trying to, look at the next thing. Please just wait, or at the very least, like catch them as they're exiting, but not right at the exit. Just
Yeah, you don't
please
want to
be
block the door.
considerate. Yeah, please be considerate.
So, what are your thoughts about the whole the campaign that unfortunately cosplayers had to create with cosplay does not equal consent?
I feel bad that like it was a necessary thing for it. Um, like I'm lucky enough to where haven't really had too many like negative interactions with people, but I get it, not everyone is open to a hug, not everyone is like, eager to have their stuff touched, especially if it's like a really intricate thing, you don't want something to get knocked out of place.
Yeah.
And like I'm glad that, it's sort of like an emergency exit. You
Hmm.
hope you never have to really use it, but you're glad it's there.
Yeah.
And I guess another little message I like to have for all cosplayers, particularly young ladies, though guys can definitely be victims of inappropriate touching as well.
Yep.
That um, you will have safety in numbers, so if you're able to have at least one other friend just walking around with you, that'll help like deter a lot of creepy comments and touches and stuff like that.
Yep.
And the convention staff is at every con I've been to pretty much, they are there to support you. So if you really are in a situation where you feel very uncomfortable or like you've been put in a situation that's could be kind of dangerous, report it to someone. They have systems so that way your complaint is on file. Because maybe nothing comes of it of that, but if that same creep does it to someone else, they already have a previous complaint.
Yep.
So, that's a very effective way to to stop that behavior. You don't need to rant about what happened on Twitter. You don't have to try to dox anyone. Just go to the proper authorities for it, and they'll help you.
Yeah.
Conventions really, really want to protect their guests.
Yeah, exactly. I once saw this one cosplayer who was wearing a risque outfit, and next to her, there was a guy in a suit coat and sunglasses, and he was her handler, but he was basically like, oh, no, like if you want a picture, you got to ask. Like he was like the bodyguard of her, and it was like, okay, that's a good plan. Like
Mhm.
then you got your like little secret service behind you. um yeah, no, it's a lot of issues that like a lot of cosplayers go through, and they people at conventions, they see cosplayers their favorite character, and they're like, oh, I want to do the thing that your character gets done to you in the anime, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa, no, let's not, and say we did,
yeah.
okay. uh
Like the only negative interaction I ever had, it wasn't actually from like another convention guest. It was a very weird situation.
mhm,
It was the year at Anime Expo where it was scheduled the same time as the X Games. So the LA Convention Center was basically double booked.
mhm,
So if you were in that hotel area, you had both regular Expo guests plus X Games fans.
okay,
And some of the X Games fans uh, didn't know what was going on, but they saw people, all dressed up. And I was dressed up as Ramal from Black Butler, which is sort of like a Chinese style dress, kind of short
mhm,
corset, stockings, the whole deal. He
yep,
sees me and this one guy sees me and another cosplayer as if he can have pictures with us, like, oh, okay. then he puts his arms around both of our waists and like holds us in really close. I'm like, this is kind of
So
weird.
you wanted a picture not to touch.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
yeah. No, yeah, there's so many things. Well, yeah, like when somebody says, "Oh, hey, like, can I get a picture?" They think that they can pose with you any way they want, and you're like, "Okay, what kind of pose are you gonna do before I let you take a picture of me with this?" You know.
yeah. I
So
guess it should be made very clear that like if you're asking someone for a photo, if you ask like, "Hey, can I take a picture?" That's basically implying that the cosplayer chooses what pose they want to do.
yeah,
If you want a specific pose, be like, "Oh, can I get a picture? Can you do, the fighting pose, or can
yeah,
you do
exactly.
the this pose?" If you want a picture with them, say, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" Just be very
Yeah,
clear, and then they will probably let you know, how much physical contact is comfortable for them.
yeah. And for the most part, a cosplayer is gonna go with the flow, and because they're having a fun time, they
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
to upset the other people. And of course, you know the great thing about Arizona I've found is the Arizona cosplay community is very helpful, very friendly, very courteous, and of course there's some drama that you see, and of course you're gonna get that in everywhere.
I can
So
yeah, I've been many places, I can say there's drama everywhere.
right, do you have any favorite cosplayers?
Favorite cosplayers? Funny enough, even though I've cosplayed a lot, like, I haven't really been following that many cosplayers. Back in my high school days, I was really into Parley Productions.
Hmm.
They were like a Kingdom Hearts based cosplay group, and then they
Nice.
wanted to do Marvel stuff, and then there was a great divide. I actually got to meet the two main members at a convention once, and that was fantastic. And
Nice.
one cosplayer that I do follow kind of consistency is Leon Kiro or Chiro, the
Okay.
the Italian cosplayer that you see everywhere. That
Yeah.
I love his work, and he loves his fans so much.
Yeah.
He is so appreciative, and he's not afraid to be a dork, and it's just so sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of cosplayers I've met where they're like, "Here, take my card. Call me up if you have any questions about any costume, if you want to do a collab one time or whatever." And I was like, "Wow, that's very friendly." Like these are very popular cosplayers offering their skills or their advice.
Yeah,
So, what?
I would really like to meet other cosplayers this time around that I'm in Arizona. Like I think it was like in March or something that I joined the Facebook page for Arizona Cosplayers Assembly.
Mhm.
I think that's how I found like your interview stuff.
Yeah.
So far,
Yeah,
everyone's been
yeah,
super
no,
friendly.
like I said, you'll find Arizona cosplay community amazing. There's like very little drama. Uh,
That's
yeah, because well, the whole thing is that Arizona cosplay group or other cosplay groups around here is that they say, "Oh, hey, it doesn't matter how tall, how small, how skinny, how fat, how old, how young you are, you can be a cosplayer. You can have fun." And because that's the whole thing, like you said, costume, play, play.
Mhm.
So and so what's the most detailed cosplay you've done?
Lulu from Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
That is an insane outfit. Like, let me describe it to you. So, first, like corset with like basically fur going all around, giant sleeves with like a floral pattern all on the sides, and the very front part of the skirt is a weave of belts, and then it's a big old dress with that same floral pattern all along the edges, two beaded necklaces, four hair sticks, and like braids on the top half of the head, all going up into a braided bun with braids falling down. And I somehow made all of that without before I got my sewing machine.
Whoa, before you got the sewing machine. That's
Yes,
insane.
so I was doing it all with hand sewing, glue, prayers, blood, sweat.
Right? Blood, sweat,
I
and
was like,
tears. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah. It was
Man,
very fun going to Goodwill one day and buying literally 30 belts for that. Like they were like 50 cents each.
you're like, I need 50 belts. You're like, what do you need 50 belts for? Yeah.
and and the fur that I used for the top part, like it was the lining of a hoodie, where
Okay.
luckily the fur part was like only sewn at like very small points of the hoodie, so I cut it up, rip it up, and I'm super visual, so I need like something to.
You're
All
like,
right,
I
so
need to show you.
yeah, so you have a flower
Yeah.
that would be like this,
Yeah.
but with Lulu's floral pattern, every little petal was separate from each other. So I
Whoa.
couldn't just cut out one flower thing and paste it on. I had to cut out who knows how many petals
And you had to form the
and
flower.
yeah, form the flowers, paint each one. Keep in mind this took like, 3 coats of paint and Mod Podge to get it right
I
and put it
hope that
all
you
onto the
have
dress.
photos of this, right?
I have a few photos, like, it's just kind of weird because like I didn't take as many photos at the time as I do now of cosplays
Mhm.
because that was back when I was like 16,
Okay.
where I just thought it was just something really fun to do. But now it's 10 plus years later. I'm like, why didn't I take more photos back then? The few that I
Right.
have though, I'm really really proud of. Like I wonder if there's a way I can like link to and but I'll do that later. Like my
You're
comparison
just
photos on Instagram. You can find that for sure.
yeah, in Instagram, we'll be posting the links. Here, let me just try to get your Instagram now. Here,
It's whoever's it's at AbbyDream 13 for whoever's watching and wants to go and
yeah,
find it through. Actually, I
Instagram.
have my Instagram open just for this.
Yeah, I just gotta post it in the chat here.
And I show it on the script.
Oh, there you go, right there.
There we go. Yes, we have visual.
Oh yeah, that looks like it would be insane amount of time.
Yeah, it was. It'd be a thing where like I'd work on it for 2 hours one weekend, next weekend another few hours, then the week before the con, spending 10 hours a day on it. And the falls for the braids, those were like extensions I had clipped in, but the actual hairdo of the braids up top going up into a braided bun, that was
Yeah,
my natural hair. At the time, I had long dark hair that was like all the way down my back,
okay,
and it was 2 hours in this lawn chair the day before the con to get that hairdo.
yeah, wow. So, what are your top three craftsmanship tips that you have? Like, what are your cosplay tips?
All right. Um, thought about this. So, first one is gonna be when selecting materials and trying to get the right color. Uh, don't just look at your reference picture for whatever material it is. If it's like a paint or particularly a fabric, see how it looks. Compared to your reference.
Mm-hmm.
See how it looks with and without flash photography, and see how
Oh,
it looks
okay.
against your skin tone, because we all have different skin tones. So sometimes your own skin tone will sort of change how the fabric looks. Like with me with black, like my skin looks super dark with certain types of black, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes with grays, some grays will look more bluish on me, some will look more yellowish. So that's something that about help a lot if like you really want to get into accuracy.
Very
Um,
nice.
but also on the flip side, there's this one where sort of learn to pick your battles and what little things to let go. Like even with this, like the pink part is over the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
but the white part accidentally made it so that way the wrong side goes over the other. And when I
Uh-huh.
realized that, I was like, do I really want to undo all the straps I have underneath and do it? No, no.
You're like,
And,
nope, let it
and another
go.
time, another time back when I was still hand sewing stuff and I was hemming this one skirt, my hem my sewing line wasn't like completely straight and I was really getting down on myself and then I thought, hold up. If someone seriously takes time out of their convention day to tell me that my sewing line isn't straight, one, they're wasting their time. and two, they're standing too damn close.
Yeah. Well,
And the
yeah,
third,
yeah. That's
oh, sorry.
that's what you catch when you go to masquerades in Arizona. You
Yeah,
they look at your hemline, they look at everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are
yeah,
very particular.
about like especially if you're just starting out, like if it's something you can let go, if it's something that's not gonna make a difference, like 3 feet away,
Yeah,
you're good to just move on. And
yeah.
this third thing that's very important, especially if you're just starting out and you're gonna be doing a lot of hand sewing or crafting,
Hmm.
make sure to stretch out your wrists. You can look up like artists, uh, like hand stretches and stuff like that because if you're doing a lot of stuff, you're gonna get tired. This is a muscle just like anything else.
Hmm.
I've done other like actual like sewing jobs for like Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And one time I did way too much hand sewing. I had to wear a brace on both my wrist and my elbow because I had really overstrained it.
Wow.
So I would recommend like if you know you're gonna do a lot of crafting one day, stretch out beforehand and probably each time you switch tasks, stretch again.
Yeah.
It'll save you a lot of pain.
Yeah. That's stretching is very important, especially when you're sewing. So, what is your favorite cosplay you've done so far? Now that's a hard one because you've done a lot.
That's like asking me like yeah, that's like asking my favorite food and like
So, like,
calculated with
what are
the
your
commission
top
I made, I've
three?
made 46 cosplays since 2006.
46
But
cosplays.
yeah, I'm kind of insane. But in terms of top three, uh, one of them would definitely be Akita Neru from Vocaloids.
Okay.
That's just a character where the more I cosplayed her, the more I felt like I was sort of coming to my own. I would feel more confident. I
Hmm.
would like just be way more into having a good time. I wasn't so much in my own head as I usually am.
Yeah.
And also, like, I had former friends in high school that when I first told them I wanted to cosplay Akira Neru, they said it wouldn't look good on me. Once that friendship fell apart, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this for myself. I am making this cosplay,
Yeah.
and I absolutely love how I look in it. Um, Another favorite one, oh, I had a whole bunch. I'm gonna say, uh, Gender Bend of America from Access Powers Italia.
Hmm.
That one, it's curly blonde hair, uh, olive green pleated skirt, and olive
Okay.
green like button up that's like tied right beneath the bust, and then a bomber jacket on top. And I've always been a big girl. I've always had like body issues and stuff like that. It was actually when I started cosplaying that's when some of the issues like started to really be minimized. That's when I started to really appreciate my own body and how I look.
Yeah.
And with that Team America cosplay, I actually showed my stomach for first time and super nervous going into it, but everyone at the con was just really nice. I loved how my photos look afterwards. I loved how I looked in it.
Hmm.
So that definitely has a really big place in my heart just because of how big of a step it was for me emotionally.
No. Yeah.
And and third one, oh boy. Hmm. I think I'll say I know I had a different answer for it like last night, but looking back on that, I really have to go with Lust, my very first cosplay, just because that was the one that started it all. It was the one that made me fall in love with this hobby.
Yeah.
It's,
Nice. So, have you ever had a cosplay horror story?
yes. Had a couple, but the one that I'll share is Gunnar Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2.
Hmm.
That was a cosplay that made it to the convention, but never made it out the hotel door.
Oh.
I like had just kept on putting it off and like I was still working on things like the day before, even though we were checked into the hotel, like I'm trying to finish up sewing and painting and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so day of the convention where I finally decided I'm gonna wear it, I put it on. As I'm walking to the elevator, pieces are falling off, paint is rubbing off onto other things I shouldn't have. And Alma was with me at the time. I'm like, I can't go to the con like this. It's all just going to like fall apart the second we get into the dealer's hall.
Yeah.
So we ended up just going down a few floors, taking some pictures in the hallway, and then I went back up to my room and I changed into a different cosplay. And
Yeah.
it was it was so bad because I had put in so much work. There were so many pieces involved, and there's like this like sort of ruffly side skirt that I
Hmm.
had hand dyed, and Amma had helped me cut this like edge edge pattern onto it. I was so proud of that side skirt, but the rest of it just fell apart. It's one of my biggest regrets. We got some good
Yeah.
photos, but it's rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to that.
True. So, what would be your funniest cosplay story?
All right. So let's see. I think I was either 19 or 20 at the time, and it was at Anime Los Angeles, where me and one of my friends we went to their pirate rum party. No actual alcohol was served. It was just, basically everyone who loves Pirates of the Caribbean was down there,
Yeah.
and they had a belly dance competition, and it was actually kind of cool because anyone over the age of 18 could enter, and
Yeah.
uh, there was supposed to be pre-recorded music, but the sound system just sort of failed. Luckily, they had these like percussionists that were there, so we had live music for the belly dance contest.
Oh, nice.
For that night, I was cosplaying as Bulma from Dragon Ball Z,
Hmm.
particularly her pre-Cell Saga outfit, which is like a orange cropped hoodie with matching pants, tank top, hat. But basically, at that point of the Dragon Ball Z lore, she's already a mother.
Mm.
So when it comes my turn to go up onto the stage and do my thing, right before, like right when they're saying my name and announcing me, one of the bongo drum players just starts chanting, "Melf, Melf, Melf."
Mel.
My friends are, I just burst out laughing. I'm like,
Uh,
okay, I don't even care if I win the competition. I've
like,
already won in my head.
heck yeah, right? Exactly. That's funny. Yeah. So, what is the best cosplay interaction that you've had?
Oh, okay. So this is more backstory time. While I was in college, I did a semester abroad in Austria. And
Mm.
because I'm a super nerd, I actually went to two conventions during my semester there. One
Okay.
was in Vienna, the capital city of Austria. There I met this one girl that invited me to another con that took place in Germany like 2 months later. And I I had a really hard time my semester abroad because like it was a small group of us from my college that went, but I had the least amount of German experience.
Mm.
And so language barrier, culture shock, homesickness, pretty much every travel woe you can imagine happened to me that
Yeah.
semester. But when I went to the conventions, that's where I didn't feel so out of place because it's like, oh, names of these characters are pretty much the same. It's
Yeah.
not that hard to say, can I have a picture or can I hug you and stuff like that. Just seeing everyone sort of like nerd out the same way was just like
Exactly.
so refreshing. And on the very last day of the con, I was cosplaying as Naru from Vocaloids, and like right before we were about to leave, I see this Akaito cosplayer that's also from Vocaloids. Most of the fans tend to ship Neru and Akaito together. So this Akaito cosplayer sees me, so
Hmm.
we just rush together and we just start doing, like dance poses, holding hands, stuff like that.
Nice.
While saying very little to each other, we just knew what we were doing at that point. So that was definitely one of my best cosplay interactions.
That's cool. Yeah, because I remember going to Germany and no one spoke English, and I was like, I just want some food, and so I was like legit signing to them like, "Where's food?" And they're like, "Essen." I'm like, "Is that food?" It's like, so awesome. AZ Mom says AbbyDream has amazing skills, and her concept art is awesome. Yeah, yeah. So, have you ever cosplayed with a family member?
Um, well, I consider my husband my most immediate family
Of
member,
course, yeah.
and we have cosplayed together. Uh, Back when we were dating, I made him a human version of Growlithe, and I cosplayed as Officer Jenny from Pokemon.
Nice.
Um, what the year that I completed Botan from Yu Yu Hakusho, I made him a Cooler Bar cosplay, same series.
Hmm.
Most recently, I made him a cosplay of Bisky from Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, same creator. Bisky's outfit is like a big pink dress thing, but she's like had a big like muscly woman form. And my husband's built like an ox, so he looks great in it. I love walking around conventions with him in this
Yeah, you
because we're
definitely
both
you
big.
never have
We're
any.
both big.
Yeah, people like you'll never have a bad experience with him around you, right? He's like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, whoa, you know, exactly. So what is your favorite cosplay photo of yourself? Would it be that one that you showed earlier?
um, that's a really good one. Again, I was having trouble thinking of ones before this, but I've narrowed it down to this one. Uh, so it was my own version of a rave outfit for Neru from Vocaloids because Vocaloids, the music program, raves, how he not put them together.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no special effects in this. This is just very good lighting placement captured on Alma's phone. Let me see if I can get it clear.
Oh wow, that was very cool.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Just how happy that I look in that. Just it, everything is shown off perfectly in that one. I really like that photo.
So hopefully Ama is local and she's or he is still your photographer.
They're in Oklahoma right now.
Oh, they're in
We
Oklahoma.
haven't lived in the same state for years, and it kills me. We When I was living in Texas, they were able to visit me for a day, and I had just completed a dress alteration I had done for myself, and we took photos of that. It was just like riding a bike. We just fell back into our rhythm for it.
Nice.
I really miss them.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing is when you find that photographer that works perfect for you, it's really sad that when they leave and you're like, no.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are your go-to stores for materials that you've found?
So back when I was living in LA, I loved the fashion district the most because it's kind of like as close as you can get to being an RPG. You just go to random shops and hope you find the right thing,
Hmm.
and great prices. Get giant, yards of fabric for like $2 or something.
Nice.
Around here, I've have really really good luck at Seth's Superstore.
Hmm.
Um, for other things, if I can't find fabric there, then I'll go to Hobby Lobby. I refuse to buy fabric from Joann's anymore
Oh, why is that?
because for one Halloween I was going to be Anastasia, her golden dress,
Hmm.
and I got this satin from Joann's, which was not cheap,
No, it's never
and
cheap.
that was the worst fabric experience I have ever had. I had my paper pattern. I put onto like the other lining fabric, pin it, trace out, cut it, fine. Do the same thing to the satin. The pieces were somehow smaller, even though they were cut in the exact same way. So
Wow.
I had to recut the pieces, buy more satin, and then when I finally got to the point where I sewed it together, I tried it on. The satin ripped right at the seams. I
Oh,
had to
not
just
fun.
completely scrap all of that and just wear something else for Halloween.
Oh, that is
And
not
so
good.
yeah, so ever since I refuse to buy fabric from Joann's again, I will get snaps from them, sewing machine oil, needles, but I am never touching
Right?
fabric from Joann's again.
Yeah, that's not fun. So, do you prefer to buy pre-style wigs, or do you buy them and you style them yourself?
I pretty much do pre-styled when I can, but I know enough about wigs to where I can manipulate them as needed. Like for this, it's a base wig and then there's a clip on top, and I just wrap the headband around and the ribbon around it.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, like when the whole pandemic started, the very first thing on my mind was, oh no, they're closing down international shipping. Where will I get my wigs? Almost all of my wigs are from China.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, like Arta wigs, or like, you buy a Wish wig, like something on
Arda
Wish.
has Arda does have good stuff, like especially if you're just starting out, like go on and look through there. But it's things have been very hit and miss with Arda for me.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing was like when I tried to get a blonde wig from them, the one I ordered, it had a really weird gray tone to it. It looked
That's weird.
really, it just didn't look the shade of blonde that I wanted, and it really didn't look good on me.
Yeah.
And so many times they're out of stock of the thing that I want, and
Hmm.
which I totally understand. They started from like nothing and grew to this, pretty much like the first name you hear for wigs in the cosplay community. So I
Yeah.
get it. They can only do so much, but it's just like I don't want to, scroll through 5 pages, find something I like, and then see that it's out of stock. I'd rather just go to eBay and then see what I get, and then wait 2 months or something.
Yeah, exactly. So you've done a total of 46 cosplays.
Yes,
Yeah, wow. What's the worst one you've done?
as in like
Where
the
you're just like, I'm never going to do that one again? Or do you think you've
Hmm.
loved all of your cosplays you've done?
There is one that I never completed that I don't include in my count, and that I'm not gonna try and make again. It was back, uh, pretty much the Anime Expo after I graduated high school, where friends at the time were playing the Pokemon group,
Hmm.
and at first I said, "Oh, okay, I'll just go as Officer Jenny," because at that point I hadn't really played too much of the games. I hadn't seen the series in a while. But like, no, we're all gonna be Pokemon. You need a Pokemon with us. And they chose Blissey for me because like, oh, you'll like it. It's cute. It's pink. You'll like it. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And I'd come up with my own design for how I want it to look like. But then they were like, no, we have to all look uniform. We have to follow like the same sort of design. I'm like, okay, okay. And
You're trying to be nice. Oh,
yeah, and things
fine.
were getting more and more stressful as the con was approaching, and then other like drama was happening while all this was going on. And it was at the point where it was like a few days before like I think like 2 days before the con, where I'm working on it. I'm like, even if I finish this, I don't think I want to wear it. So yeah, I've never completed that. I'm never going back to it. Then big lesson for every cosplayer, even if you really want to be part of a group, if you don't love the idea of a cosplay when you start, you are not going to love it when you finish it.
Yeah,
If
and
you're going to put the time and effort, you have to love it.
I think that people can tell if you don't like your cosplay on you.
Yeah.
It's that brings me to the next question. So, are you more of a solo cosplayer than a group cosplayer?
I really like groups, but it's so hard to get them together.
Hmm.
And I've seen, groups come and go, and I find that, it's not the cosplay of the con that causes drama. Drama just happens. People change, friendships change, breakups happen, things like that.
Yeah.
Like the one time where I was a part of a big Vocaloid group, that was fantastic. Uh, I do like the freedom that you get with solo cosplaying because you kind of feel like, oh, I'm just this cool person just walking around the con all by myself. Um, Honestly though, I think I like pairs, being a pair the
Okay.
most. So like if it's with my husband or Tekiru or Tori, who is on the stream, or Ama in particular, we've done so much pair stuff together. It was fantastic. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's always fun to go as group, yeah. But then again, you're gonna run into that drama where it's just
Mhm.
like, oh no, I need you to be this type of pink, or I want you, and the ringleader has the vision of what they want the group to be, and it just falls apart if you're not careful.
Like
So,
I would say like if you're going to be in a group, it helps to like already be friends first outside of cosplay and then do it.
mhm,
If you want to join a group that's already established, just hang out with them, make sure you jive with them first, and sometimes drama's gonna happen, and you're just on the sidelines, and there's nothing you can do but just let it play out.
yeah.
And if a group falls apart, it's okay. Other people will come into your life.
So, what's the biggest con that you've cosplayed at?
Uh, Honestly, I have to say, Phoenix Comic Con. Anime Expo has gotten huge, but with Phoenix Comic Con, you really feel the size of that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you
pretty
can't
huge.
walk through that whole thing in one day.
Yeah, I
Anime
just hope
Expo,
it.
you could,
Yeah,
but not Phoenix Comic Con.
no, Phoenix Comic Con, the vendor hall is amazingly huge, and on top of it, so many panels, so many panels.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's I think that's a good thing to do. Have you ever done a cosplay panel before?
I haven't done a cosplay panel, but with all the cons that being canceled, there's this one convention that's going to be like all online through like Discord and Zoom meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of hosting a panel for that. It'd be
Nice,
called Make Thrift Buy Cosplay Edition. Sort of what to know if you're going to make it, if you're going to hunt at thrift stores, or if you're just going to buy it, how to
nice,
avoid common pitfalls and stuff like that. It's
exactly.
something that I've had in my head for a while.
That's nice. Yeah, I've been in a few panels, and they're fun. They're fun to do. That's one of the great things about conventions, and that's the unfortunate thing about this year is that all of the conventions were canceled. I think
Yes.
TaiyoCon was the only con that I went to. It was back in January before they shut down everything, and uh, and yeah, I was really looking forward to Game On Expo and Phoenix Fan Fusion and Sabaton Con. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until next year and hopefully we have it. But what is going to be the new normal, do you think? Do you think we're going to have to wear masks?
I wouldn't be surprised if they like highly recommend it. I would really prefer it's not a requirement. Um, for many reasons, not just, aesthetic stuff, but like some people just aren't as comfortable wearing masks, and especially being in Arizona where it gets super hot and super dry, you're basically cutting off oxygen to yourself, and you may not be able to walk around as much or do as much as you would without it. And
Mhm.
interesting thing with me for this year, I helped my husband with Instacart deliveries.
Yeah,
I usually get allergies every year.
yeah,
This year it didn't happen. This year was actually the healthiest I've ever been. Then the mask became required, and now I'm waking up with a stuffy nose every morning. It's usually gone by the evening, but I can
yeah,
tell it's playing a strain on my system, and a regular convention puts a strain on your system. So I think if
mhm,
you add mass on top of that, you might get more people feeling sick during the con.
yeah.
But
Well, you're going to get sick during the con because that whole con crud that you get
yeah,
because everybody's touching, everybody's hugging, everybody's catching, breathing, snotting on you. And it
yeah,
was just like, but
I
yeah,
would say
it's crazy. It's going to be insane. Hopefully, we'll have a vaccine before that happens.
I hope so.
But you never know, and that's something that we got to be prepared for. It was like maybe we do cosplays of Mortal Kombat characters. You know, you're wearing a
Like
mask all day. The good thing
I've
about
been
inside, you're good, but outside is like, ugh, it's miserable.
yeah. I've been entertaining the idea of like making another Fiverr gig for custom face masks to match your cosplay, so that way you're not
Oh,
just wearing a
yeah,
plain white one. That's one of the things I did for the commission on Fiverr.
nice.
Uh, the theme of their cosplay is very blue and white checkered, so I made their face mask pleated, so when you see, you just see like blue and white stripes. But then when they wear it, then you see the checkered pattern.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah, so I may offer that as an option for
There you go.
people.
There you go. Yeah, no, the whole thing with the whole mask is yeah, I wear one all day long when I'm working at the prison and I have to
Oh,
it
nice.
just gets really hot, but yeah, I'm not passed out yet, so we're good.
That's good. That's good. Really good.
Yeah. The the biggest thing is like a lot of people are scared even to go back to conventions because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, like you saw with people who go to bars over at downtown Phoenix and then boom, there's like 20 people with COVID and you're like, "Wow." Just for
Like,
one
oh,
night of like drinking with friends and then like we I had a coworker who had COVID and he went to a bar and drank with friends and he gave COVID to 5 of his friends. And he's like, I feel really bad. I'm like, should have worn a mask, man. You shouldn't should have social distance. You should have just like stayed away, stay home. And
when the whole pandemic started, I was keeping track of the numbers on World Meter,
mhm,
mainly so that way, like, I wouldn't really be as easily, lied to because, anytime something happens, people are going to push their own
freak out.
stories
They're
for
gonna
it. And
freak out. They're gonna panic.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I will say, like, uh, yes, be careful, but it's not nearly as scary as people are making you believe.
Yeah.
Like, even at the very like in terms of like ratio of closed cases of ones that had an outcome
Hmm.
with death and recovered, it never crept close to 50-50 with the US. Italy
Yeah.
was at 50-50 for a really long time and then climbed back up. We're now at 93 and 7%,
Yeah.
which, any life lost, that's terrible. My heart goes out to them.
Yeah.
A good chunk of the, fatalities have been, people with pre-existing conditions, older ones, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you're in a living situation where, you do have elderly people, yeah, I understand, taking as all the precautions you need to.
Yeah.
But if you're just, sharing a room with, you know, three of your college roommates or something, you know, you don't have as
Yeah,
much to
as long as you know they don't have that, you know,
yeah,
you're good. So
yeah.
going back with the cosplay outfits now with props. Now Phoenix Fan Fusion or Phoenix Comic Con forbids weapons of any kind. Now, well, not Phoenix Fan Fusion. Sorry, the Phoenix Convention Center forbids it.
I was
Um,
there the year when they stopped that, like when they banned it during the con, and so people were like bringing bananas and like
yeah,
random things to hold instead, or like a piece of cardboard saying this is my prop.
this is my prop. Yeah, no, it was scary, and so the convention center said, "Sorry, Fan Fusion, you can't have any weapons anymore." And they're like, "Oh, dude, come on, that's like cosplayers' things. Like they have props." So, do you prefer to cosplay with props or without props?
Usually cosplay like without props. So again, just by happenstance, most of the characters I cosplay tend not to really have props, or if they do, it's something I can like really small, like a fan or a plushie, or
Hmm.
for my Lucy cosplay, I have like a little key ring, but that literally hooks onto a belt. Um,
So, have you
I
ever
I
lost?
naturally like I lose a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
so
I was
I
gonna say,
it's
like,
not a good idea to have me.
have you ever lost something at a con?
I once lost my backpack at MA
Wow.
Expo, but by, some grace of heaven, it was actually turned into lost and found at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
thankfully for that, nothing was stolen out of it. I've
That's
lost
good.
my badge so many times. So, yeah, the less stuff I hold, the better off it is for everyone.
Yep. So, would you say your husband is your handler? It's
Oh,
like hold this, hold
definitely.
this, hold this. Give
Yep,
me the
yeah.
wallet. You know.
No, whenever I wear this Botan cosplay, he always has me put stuff into my sleeves because these are basically giant bags that no one can take from me and that I can't lose somewhere. Like I've
Nice.
had rice balls in this, I've had a flask, I think think like one time I had like stuff for sandwiches, all just in the sleeve.
Nice. Nice. So if you had a chance to meet your all-time favorite cosplayer, who would it be and what would you say to them?
So I actually did meet Leon Cheryl at a convention in Texas. It was like for the briefest of moments, and he was in his All Might cosplay, and I don't even remember really saying much to him because I was way too starstruck.
You're just
His
like
friend took a picture. Yeah, his friend took a picture of us. I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And my husband's off to the side, just like,
whatever,
uh,
whatever.
if I had the chance to meet him again, like honestly, I would love to do a photo shoot with him
Mhm.
just because he goes all out with his photos. He really tries to match the aesthetic, the mood, the
Nice.
character, the body language. Like it would be an honor to do some sort of collaboration with him.
That's cool. So have you ever bought a cosplay piece at a con,
Uh,
like a prop
I've wanted
or?
I've wanted to buy wigs at cons, and usually like I end up going to the ones that just don't have it. There was one year for Salvatin where I was supposed to wear this,
Mhm.
but I left my wig at home and none of the vendors hall had a wig that matched this. Like, okay, not happening then. Another year at a convention in Las Vegas, I had made these My Hero Academia cosplays for me and two of my friends. It was
Okay.
their uh, sports festival uniforms,
Mhm.
and for one of them, told them like, "Oh, okay, I'll bring the cosplay to you, and then we'll get you the wig at the con." No place was selling wigs.
Oh my gosh.
We were at the one convention that didn't have a single wig booth. So I'm like, okay,
That
thanks.
that is not fun.
Yeah.
So, have you ever had the chance to, how can I say this? Fulfill your ultimate dream cosplay yet?
Not yet. My dream cosplay would be Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm.
And for that, that's something where I would want, like, every patch on that dress to be a different fabric. I wouldn't want a regular red wig. I would want it to be yarn. I've even toyed around in my head with the idea of having like a bodysuit with two layers, so that way I can put like stuffing and hay in between the layers, and at certain points, like undo the stitches so that way people can see that.
That'd be cool.
It's something I've never sat down to do yet. I don't know when I'll do it, but it's always beyond the horizon.
Oh yeah, I think as a cosplayer, you're always thinking ahead and trying to see, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next
Oh
one?
yeah,
I know the next three cosplays I want to do are Doctor Strange and the Joker from Dark Knight and uh, the Incredibles. You know,
nice.
so there's so many ideas that you have to do. Now, as a cosplayer, do you feel that it's hard to keep up with all the social media and all this the posting and everything?
Oh, definitely. Biggest thing like for me, like for years I didn't take too many pictures of myself. Um, then when I met Amma, things changed a little bit, and we took a lot of pictures, mostly for Facebook. Now I'm pretty much on my own, so doing a lot of selfies and like makeup tests and reposting old photos. And what I don't like about social media is that even though you can share a lot of work, it's not as connected as I would like.
Yeah.
Um, Back in like the early days with cosplay.com,
Hmm.
that was a you know pretty nice forum to actually talk to people about the stuff that you liked and how you made this, or hey, how do I make this? There was a lot more of that community aspect to it, whereas with social media where everyone's just trying to outdo the algorithms that be,
Hmm.
it's hard. It is really hard to keep up.
Yeah, because one of the things that I was talking to someone about was that the unfortunate thing is that people are going to be paying more attention to the girl cosplayer that's showing a lot of skin and is very attractive versus the cosplayer who's put the hard work detail in every single thread, every single stitch,
Mhm.
and may not have the body type or the
Mhm.
face for that character. But, you know, why can't people just like everybody's cosplay? And but unfortunately, in cosplay as a business, it's a competition.
Yeah.
And so, like every business, like Circle K and Corner Store. When
Mhm.
I lived out in Mesa, we had a Circle K over here and a corner store over here, and they were constantly like, "We have the cheaper gas. No, we have
We
the
do, yeah.
we'll give you
I
a hot dog with that gas." And it's just it goes more and more. It's like, oh, my cosplay is better than your cosplay. No, they're both the same. They're both amazing. And
so, sort of going on to that, like, I've had moments, like, at cons where I was wearing, like, the exact same cosplay as someone else, and mine was more detailed, but they were more, Instagram model type and get more photos, and I remember, uh, getting kinda jealous and kinda pissed off at that, um,
yeah, of course
but then
you're going to, you know.
yeah, but then I sorta, like, took a step back and reminded myself, like, "Hey, why am I doing this?" I didn't start any of this to try to get famous, it's because
Hmm.
I love what I do, I love the characters, and I love being at cons.
Yeah.
And as weird as this is, like, since knowing that is sort of why I'm pushing myself to try to have more of an online presence because
Hmm.
I want people to see there's the other way to cosplay. You don't have to be trying to get more likes than this other cosplayer. You can
Hmm.
just enjoy the craft. You can just enjoy being nerdy with other people.
Yeah.
Like, I had really crap body image before I started cosplay,
Hmm.
and now I actually really like how I look.
Yeah.
I'm just worried with the way that how Instagram and other social media works. I feel like there's probably younger fans thinking they need to look like that before they can put on the cosplay. You don't have to.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I I really want to sort of bring that sense of community back, or at least that other side of cosplay back into the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Because, well, the conversation that's getting started, and hopefully it continues and snowballs, is that there was this one picture that I said earlier. It doesn't matter how tall you are or how short you are. It doesn't matter how skinny or fat you are. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. You are a cosplayer, and you are going to have fun. and
Yes.
and that's the good thing about it, is hopefully that brings more traction, so that people are not afraid to go out there and do be in cosplay.
Mhm.
So have you ever been mistaken as another costume or character?
Yeah, and it was really weird. Um, so it was at MA Expo. I was cosplaying Namine from Kingdom Hearts 2,
Okay.
and that's a really simple cosplay, blonde
White
wig,
dress, blonde
white
wig.
dress,
Mhm.
yeah. And I'm just sitting in the hall with one of my friends talking, and then this one guy comes up, says like, "Hey, are you Hollywood from Cool World?" I'm like, "No,
She has long
I'm
hair.
Tommy."
She has long hair.
And then he started talking all about how like, oh, no one can ever have like the boobs that Hollywood has, and he's basically having a fanboy moment over a character that I'm not even cosplaying.
And you're
I'm
like, bro.
just like, hey, I liked Brad Pitt in that movie, but yeah, why are you still here?
You're like, go away, go away. No, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no. And one thing you should have said is like, she has long hair.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. There's the big difference there. So,
yeah.
what's the most difficult cosplay that you've done,
Um,
where things were falling
and,
apart and you're like, just like,
so I'm gonna say a three-way tie between Lulu, Gunnar Yuna, and the dancer nobody from Kingdom Hearts 2. Because the Dancer Nobody from Kingdom Hearts 2, that was the first thing I made on my sewing machine. So I was making a leotard as the very first thing
that's
on there.
the dancer leotard that goes like, like that weird one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
like every time you fight Demix,
I
that's the
hate
one that
those. I
shows
hate
up.
those.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, man. Oh, that's
Yeah,
one
so I
game where I almost broke a controller. So anyway,
yeah,
yeah. So you were working on the dancer nobody.
so I was trying to figure out how to do a leotard as my very first sewing project on the machine, and going from hand sewing to machine sewing is such a different process. And I didn't realize you need to have a completely different setting for stretch fabrics.
Wow.
And when I did the leotard, since I was doing like, the black design, across the chest and down the center, like, okay, I'll trace it out. I need to paint this. Wait a minute, if I just paint it flat, it's not going to stretch. Oh, I'll paint it while I'm wearing it and then clean up later. Oh crap, I have wet paint on me. I need to just sit down for like an hour until it dries.
Yep, exactly.
But it was worth it because so many people at the con said, I hated fighting against you. Like, I hate you so much. I'm
It's
like,
like
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, it
And
was
you're just
fun.
like moving around. What's up?
Exactly.
No, it's true because oh man, that game in general, it's just when you're playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and you're fighting Ansem and the stupid submit says it
Oh,
over and over and over and you're like, "Okay, I get it." So, in your opinion, what makes a cosplayer a pro cosplayer?
yeah. I would say like you're pretty high up there once conventions start asking you to appear as a guest,
Mm-hmm.
and you have like, one of those tables and a line of people wanting to get signatures from you, and especially if you're getting paid to do that,
Mm-hmm.
that makes you a professional.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with it. A lot of people say, "Oh, like everybody's a pro cosplayer in their own mind," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's true. Whichever you want to." As we always say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, like for myself, like I would call myself like an expert cosplayer,
Hmm.
not a professional yet, but I'm working on
Yeah, got those sewing skills as an expert. So hey.
it.
So, what's your favorite part of cosplay?
Ooh. All right, I have two moments that I really love. I love the moment when I fought all the materials to start working on something, and like even if I'm just draping the fabric just across myself, that just sort of excitement, like, oh, this is going, I'm going to have so much fun making this. I can't wait to see this completed. That's
Mm,
great. And then the other moment would be either when I know I've clicked into the character's brain, either at the con or during the photos, where like I know, like, okay, yeah, this is happening. Like, uh, one I remember when I first wore my Neru cosplay.
hmm
Neru's gimmick with Vocaloids is she's always on her phone texting.
Yeah.
And there's one time where I'm just like posing for a photo, I'm holding my phone, and other people were coming by to take more photos, and I happen to get a text at that exact moment, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Like, hey man, I'm Neru. I can go ahead and just answer this. Of course you would do that.
You're like, hold on one second. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just, looking pretty while answering the text message and just letting people take their phone, like, oh
It's like, oh yeah, this works.
yeah.
Okay, and the other one?
Um, let's see, there is another great time with me and Ama where I was stalking from Pain stalking, and Ama was the gender bent version,
Okay.
and we both did photos with like these giant lollipops that were in inappropriate shape,
Yep.
but it was just so in character because Stocking's thing is she loves candy, and both Penny and Stocking in that show are huge pervs, so it was a
Nice.
fun moment for us.
Nice. So, like everything, there's always a good and there's always a bad to every situation. So, what would you say would be the worst thing about cosplay?
uh, I would say the worst thing about cosplay is misconceptions that people have about it,
Hmm.
because those can come from anyone. Like my mom has thought I was too old for cosplay like 5 different times in my life.
Right.
I've, you know, been walking from the convention center to the hotel and had like, random people, honk at me and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And there was that sci-fi show Heroes of Cosplay where that was just, basically reality TV trash. I'm like, this probably isn't a good way to display the community.
No. Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's really bad. At the same time, everyone sort of decides what cosplay means to themselves and how they want to display that. But there's definitely wrong ways to display that and wrong ways to show off the community. Like, it's not all drama. It's not all beauty contests. It's
Yeah.
not all about who can, wear the least amount of clothing. There's so much more to it that just people don't understand.
True. So, usually around this time, I allow the chat to come up with any questions they have to ask you. So, if in the chat, if you guys have any questions you would like to ask Abby, Dream, feel free to type it in the chat. So, moving on, what do you think is like um, the your your desire for more cosplay? Do you think you're going to more focus on the sewing aspect, or would you want to get into armor making, or what? What do you think is that?
Uh, like it's on the forefront of my mind to finally sit down and learn how to, use EVA foam and all the heat tools and stuff like that. It's definitely on there, but really with how insane this year has been, I just want to make as much stuff as I can because everything's crap right now. Why not make something you love? Why not make something you can be proud of?
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
really just want to like, oh, this is a good time to make that cosplay. This is a good time to make that. Oh, this is a good time to, finally finish up that thing I've been putting off.
So
So
one
it's
one question that we have is, what's your learning experience with Echo cosplay?
Echo cosplay, like
Yeah,
oh, my
there she
Echo
is.
cosplay. Oh, I know what this is. So when I made my Echo cosplay from Pandora Hearts,
Mhm.
it's a blue dress that has like a white panel and buttons on it, and I was feeling so clever. Like, oh, if I make this dress just loose enough at this point, I don't need to put in a zipper or elastic. I can just slip it on and off. But since it was still shaped, so I would have room at the bust and at the waist,
Mhm.
it couldn't lie flat. So I couldn't attach the white panel on it lying flat. I had to have Amma pin the white panel to me so
Oh,
that way while I'm wearing the dress, so that way I could take it off and then attach it to the dress. So it became an inside joke of pulling an echo,
pulling an
where
echo. Yep.
if you have to pin something to yourself or draw something on yourself while you're wearing the piece, which is something that can be very risky, but sometimes
Yeah,
it just has to be done.
exactly. One question from Miras is, do you ever get requests for you yourself to wear certain cosplays?
Uh,
Has
hmm.
anybody said, "Hey, can you do this cosplay?"
Let's not so much. Like, it was a little bit when I was part of the cosplay group. The page we had on Facebook was called Cosplay on Crack, and it's a fantastic name. And so we would like plan series and be like, "Oh, can you be this character?" Like, "Oh, okay," but you know, plans would fall through.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's the biggest thing with groups is like they always somehow manage to just fall through the cracks. Just like one person doesn't show up, it doesn't go well with the
oh
cosplay, and so you're
yeah,
you're
yeah,
constantly just back and forth of just like struggling with getting the group together. That's my experience with group cosplays. I see it all the time when I go around cons. It's just like
oh
you
yeah.
see a group of teenagers over there arguing, and like, oh, there we go, it's going down.
Like
Yeah,
something always goes wrong with a convention plan. If you have a plan for a convention of all the stuff you're gonna do, at least 5 things are gonna go wrong. But it's
Yeah.
okay. That's how you get some really good stories.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about Jennifer. Yeah. Yeah. So, I want to thank you again for coming up on the interview. A lot of people I've interviewed, they're like, I was so nervous. I've never done an interview before. And by the end of it, they always tell me, oh, so that was so much fun. That was so much relaxing. I hope you had fun. Um,
I really
appreciate you bringing your community into the stream. Uh, oh, another question was, do you usually go for simplicity or as much accuracy and detail in the cosplay? So do you like go for the pre-bought pattern or do you have to make the pattern yourself?
I almost always make my own patterns. Like I've used a commercial pattern once for my Belarus cosplay, and then I modified it for stocking. And then since then, I've just drafted my own because it's so hard to find like patterns for like the weird shapes that anime and video games come up with.
Hmm.
And I always try to be as accurate as I can, but you know how there's like that triangle productivity of fast, cheap, good, pick two. With cosplay, there's another triangle of accurate to the character, looking good in photos, and actually wearable in real life. So
Yeah.
like with this, I've done a pretty good job with it, but it's shorter than how it looks like in the anime because if it was at floor length, I wouldn't be able to walk. I'd be constantly tripping on it.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
it's another thing where I've learned to pick my battles. I go as accurate as I can, and then if I can't manage that, I try to at least look good for the photo.
Yeah.
And if you can't manage that, at the very least, I know I can wear it without it falling apart on me.
Yeah. True. I think for everyone, it's if we actually made the cosplay according to the comic or the anime, we'd look like freaks because they're
So
drawn unproportionately and everything like that. Um, Once again, thank you for coming on, Abby. Any last things you want to say to your fans before we go?
um so I guess that if anyone is not sure about whether or not they should start cosplaying, go ahead and just do it. Whatever sort of fears or concerns you may have, that's you get over it by facing it, and you'll be having too much fun to worry about what people may say. And I'm going to mention my Fiverr because it's under a different name. It's under the name Tentai Enzuru.
Hmm.
I don't know why I didn't do AbbyDream like I do for all my other stuff, but for some reason on Fiverr I decided to do Tentai Enzuru. I have a couple different packages available in case people are interested in commissions. I'm very flexible, depending on what your budget is. Obviously, size inclusive. I'm a big person
Yep.
myself. So if you want a little piece made, I can definitely help you that. If you want all of it made, I can do that. So yeah.
And we'll make sure in the YouTube video when it gets posted on YouTube, we'll post all the links that Abby's mentioned, and then more as well. So thank you so much again for your time, Abby, and I hope you have a very nice day and good luck with your future cosplays.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everyone who joined the stream.
Take care. Bye.